Yas Technique for mastering vector graphics with Adobe Illustrator. We are on our third project. We have made a straight line mosaic. We have made a curved mosaic. And now we are going to work on fruit to combine some of our skills, but mainly just keep on working on the pen tool. And this is the goal for this first part of the project. We're going to get 6 artboards created. We're going to import some graphics, some photos of fruit. We're going to place them in the middle of our artboard, and we are going to trace them. And I'll show you how that's all going to be done in the next steps. So we're going to move on. This is essentially where you want to be. We're going to go to the File menu, and we're going to create a different kind of page this time. We're going to have it 8.5 by 11 inches. With 6 artboards, and everything else stays the same. No bleed, RGB, high, default, create. So 8.5 by 11 with 6 artboards. Great. Now we're not going to be using guides or grids on this project, so that's a relief. So we don't have to worry about preferences or anything like that. One of the key things in this next project is your left hand. Once again, we must be able to, at this point in the course, be comfortable in zooming in without going to the magnify tool. We must be comfortable in pulling ourselves around the artboard, holding down the space bar. So if I want to zoom in on the first artboard, I would hold down space bar, command or control, and zoom in that area, and then let go, and I'm back on to the selection tool. Pull myself by holding down the space bar. Pull myself by holding down the space bar. Zooming in by holding down space bar and command. Those are the key elements in this next part of the class, because we're going to be moving around a lot, and I want you to be comfortable in manipulating your canvas as much as your art itself. So I want you to be thinking both about the art, but also about how you're moving around, because that allows your brain to open up creatively enormously. To get started, we now have, I'm going to zoom out by holding down spacebar, command alt or option. There we go. I think for the next course I'll just go all Mac and give a preamble at the beginning. So in terms of shortcuts. So let's zoom in on our first artboard. Okay, like this. I've supplied 6 images with the course materials, photos of fruit, which I have downloaded from Unsplash. You can see them here. And I'd like you to put them in a folder that you can easily access and find, because we're going to be going to that folder repeatedly from within Illustrator. So we need to be able to navigate very simply to these. And I have named them apple, avocado, banana, lemon, lime, orange for your convenience. And so simply download these and put them in your course folder. Now, back to Illustrator. So I have 6 artboards, but I'm going to click once just to let Illustrator know that I'm working on this artboard right here. If I clicked on the artboard number 2, it would think, and I clicked command 0 to center, it would center my screen on the second artboard. If I clicked once, you can't see the click, or you can see the impression of the click, in the third artboard. If I clicked once on the third artboard and hit command 0, it's going to center on the third artboard. So holding down spacebar, I'm going to drag myself back to artboard number 1. I'm going to click once on it to let Illustrator know that's where I'm working. Hit command 0 to center on screen. Then I'm going to go to the File menu, or click Shift Command P for place. And we're going to navigate to the fruit. We're going to start with our lemon. Now, before we hit place, I'd like you to remember a very important thing. We're going to do this 6 times, so by the end you will remember. We are always checking template. And what that does is it imports our photo in a faded locked layer. So we could do this project without having checked template, but it would be a little different. So I'd like you to check template before you do, and then hit place. So you say, what happens? We got a little spinning beach ball. It's waiting to place the image. Oh my God, it's huge. No worries. All we're going to do is click, go into your layers palette, look at the new layer that was created, and you'll notice I'm going to drag my layers palette open just a little bit so I can see the full name. And we have the words template lemon.jpg. So it's made a layer of for our lemon, a special layer, and it's locked it. And we can't see this yet, but it's also made it semi-transparent. So, but it's large and it's too hard to deal with like this. So very simply, we're going to unlock that layer. We're going to go up into our control bar and make sure the top left reference point is checked. And then we're going to simply enter in 0 for X, 0 for Y, and 8 for width, and then hit return. We just forced it to be the X and Y 0 point and 8 inches wide. And now we're going to relock it because it's a template layer. We're going to keep it locked. Perfect. So now I'm going to zoom out again, Command minus and space bar, hold down to move myself around. Perfect. Now I'm going to click once in the second artboard. So Illustrator knows I'm working on the second artboard, and then hit Command 0. We're going to repeat all those steps. Repetition is very important in graphic design, especially in computer graphics. We need to repeat ourselves. We're going to do this 6 times. So we're going to go, and you'll notice place is grayed out. That's because we're not allowed to place anything on a locked layer. So let's go back to layer 1 in our layers palette and then go to File, Place. Here we're going to choose avocado. We're going to remember to click Template and hit Place. It's enormous, no worries. We unlock the layer in the layers palette. We hit the top left reference point in the control bar. We hit 0 for X, 0 for Y, and 8 inches for width. And we lock it again. Spacebar, drag ourselves across the screen. We tell Illustrator by 1 click in the third artboard that we're working here. We are going to move ourselves back into layer 1 and repeat. File, Place, Orange. Oh, almost forgot. Template. Perfect. Enormous. No worries. Unlock the layer. Hit the top left reference point. 0 for X, 0 for Y, and 8 for width. Lock it. Perfect. We could do 8.5 too. Spacebar, drag ourselves over to artboard number 4. Feeling good. Click once on that artboard to let Illustrator know that we're working there. Click once in layer 1 to escape the locked template for the orange layer, but we want to really be in a free layer. File, Place, Banana, Template, Place, Unlock, 0, 0, 8, Return, Lock, Spacebar. Click once on the artboard, click once in the layer, File, Place, feeling our rhythm. Apple, what did he forget? He forgot to make it a template, and you can see what happens. Sure, I could lock that, but it's not going to be grayed out. It's not going to be the way the other ones are, so I'm going to Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. No worries. File, Place, Apple, Template, Place. Very good. Unlock the layer. 0, 0, 8. Lock it. Spacebar, drag ourselves over. Hit once on artboard 6. Click once in the free layer. File, Place, Lime, Template, Place. Unlock the layer. Make that 0, make Y 0, and make this 8 inches wide, and lock it. And let's save. Command S, save it in my Sandcart fruit folder. Actually, it's not fruit, so I'll save it outside of that. Save it in my EPS file, and I'm going to call it, today is the 20th one, Yas Samcart. We'll call this vector fruit. And you'll see I used a Adobe Illustrator version. You could have used EPS as well, or even PDF, but I recommend AI for this. So now we have let's take a look at our layer palette. We don't need layer 1 anymore, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to zoom out, spacebar, Command, Option. Okay, it's not the prettiest layout in the world, but we've got our objects on our artboards, and we've got them locked, and they're all fairly labeled, which is nice. And so the next step is we are going to center these template photos on our artboards so we can more easily trace them. We're going to isolate our objects, and let's start with a lemon. I'm going to go to lemon. I'm actually going to drag these in order so they are in the artboard palette, so they are reflective of the actual order on my screen, so everything is easy to follow, which is very important in these kind of jobs, especially when you have more than a couple of things and you have to get systematic, you have to label things, you have to be careful with your layer palette, and all of your processes should be kind of similar for each one, so you wind up with similar results. Okay, so for the next part of the project, we're going to create layers to correspond with each of these template layers. I want to create a layer for the artwork, for the lemon, for the avocado, for the orange, for the banana, for the apple, for the lime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Made one too many. Let's delete that. Perfect. So this I'll call just lemon, avocado, orange, banana, apple, and lime. And we're going to drag these above their respective layers. Okay. Perfect. And you see my template layers are locked. They're templates because they're in italics. That means they're faded and locked, and Illustrator thinks they're templates. Great. Let's just hit once on artboard number 1, hit Command 0. Perfect. And go to the template layer itself, and we're going to unlock that. We're going to choose the rectangle tool and just draw a rectangle around one of the lemons. It doesn't matter what the fill or stroke is, just this. Let's choose that one. Hold down the item tool, the selection tool. While this rectangle is selected, hold down Shift to select both of these two items. And we're going to create a clipping path by hitting Command or Control 7. Once again, I'm going to go backwards and just repeat that so everyone's clear on it. I go to my template layer. I'm on the template layer, template lemon.jpg. I'm going to unlock that. I'm going to create a shape using the rectangle tool. And it doesn't matter what the color is. I'm going to shift click the lemon object so both things are selected, and then I'm going to do Command or Control 7, which creates a clipping path. By the way, if I was to hit Command Option 7, it would release these two objects from each other and take away the clipping path, but I don't want to do that right now. So let's leave it like this. Drag it to the center. You can actually use your Align Object palette to center it and center it. That's great. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So let's use our, instead of trying to drag on it and make it all kind of weird shapes, we could just use the hold down Shift and make it a little bit bigger. Perfect. And center it. Great. And now lock it again. Perfect. That's ready for tracing. Hold down spacebar and drag yourself over to the avocados. We're going to go into the avocado layer, unlock it with the selection tool, which is V in your shortcuts. You're going to move it down to the center. You're going to grab the rectangle tool, which is M in your shortcuts. You're going to drag a rectangle of any fill and stroke around the main avocado. Looks like I've got none and none, which is fine. Holding down the V key now, I'm going to hit V for the selection tool. Holding down Shift, I have both objects selected. Command 7 for clipping path. Lock it. We're going to go to the orange layer. Spacebar, drag yourself over here. Unlock the orange in the layer palette. Using the selection tool, drag yourself down. Using the rectangle tool, create a shape around your orange. Hold down, click V for selection tool, Shift for multiple objects selected, and Command 7 for clipping path. Zoom out, spacebar command option, spacebar command, zooming in. Unlock the banana layer. I'm in the banana layer. I'm centering it. I don't need to use a clipping path on this, so I'm just going to lock it. Holding down spacebar, pulling self over. Perfect. I'm in the template I'm in the apple layer. I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to drag this up so the apple is in the center. I'm going to take the rectangle tool, make a generous shape around that. Holding down the selection tool, I'm going to hold down Shift, select both of them together, and Command 7. And then in my properties palette or in my align palette, I'm going to center that clipping path. I'm going to center that so it's in the center of the page and lock it. Spacebar, drag myself over to the lime. Unlock that. Put this in the center. Using the rectangle tool, make an object around the lime. Using the selection tool and then the Shift key, we're going to select multiple objects and Command 7 to make a clipping path. And then center it. Brilliant. Lock it. Okay, so let's spacebar Command Option to zoom out. And you can see we have our document all set up and ready to go. All of our template layers should be locked. So go over all of your layers now and make sure that where it says template lemon.jpg, that should be locked. Template avocado, locked. Template orange, locked. Template banana, locked. Template apple, locked. Template lime. What is not locked are the other layers: lemon, avocado, orange, banana, apple, and lime. All right, so let's take a second and make sure that your layers are looking similar to mine and that your artboards are looking similar and you're ready to start tracing. So when you're ready, we're going to go to the lemon. And maybe you want to watch me do one and then do your own after that, but you could watch all of them through and then do your own. There's going to be a lot of repetition here. The goal here is to use the skills that we've learned with our pen tool, not get too mental about it, but try to be intuitive, follow the shapes. I think fruit provide the perfect muse for this kind of practice that I want us to have right now. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right layer. Lemon, good. And I'm going to take one little neurotic step here. I'm going to label my layers by color. So I'm going to double click on each of them. Yellow, make this green. And there's actually a quicker way to do this. So I have two layers. I'm going to hold down Command, both of them, options for selection, orange, banana, options for selection. Okay. Not a perfect scheme, but at least I can kind of visually distinguish. And then one last thing, I'm also going to go to panel options and make these large so I can see my little thumbnails. It just helps the eye. All right, now that we have our lemon set up, let's go to our pen tool. We're going to zoom in. We're going to click once with the pen tool at one of the highest points on one of the biggest curves of the lemon, so right there. And I can already see that the color of my layer being yellow was clever from a perspective of it organized my layer palette, but it is not helping me visually as I trace this lemon, because as you can see, the color that I made, the layer is yellow. That makes the paths on the layer yellow visually to me. So to avoid all of that, I'm going to Command Y and jump into outline view. Zoom in, and that should... all right, I already was in outline view, so let's Command Y and go into outline view now. Perfect. So that's how you toggle. Command Y goes back to seeing it as a stroke, and then, but still it is a little confusing with the yellow handles. So if you wanted to go back, I could click on the layer and make it, for example, black, just so everything is easiest to see. Now let's zoom in a little bit. Command plus. All right, maybe one step out. I don't want to be too close. Great. Now I'm going to, after having done that first click, I haven't clicked again, I'm going to click again. Command Z. Sometimes trying to find the right spot means a few tries. And then just a little curve around here, so a click and a pull. Now the big key, if you haven't noticed, for me, using the pen tool, one of the big rules of thumb for me, and I haven't said this explicitly until now because I wanted you to have your own experience feeling it out, but is the handles should not be extremely large. So when you draw a curve and you pull it out, the handles need to be relatively the same size as the curve you're making. It should not look like this. It shouldn't make drastic shapes. We want, and furthermore, it really shouldn't cut into the shape that you're making. The handles should always kind of remain outside of the shape that you're making. I'm going to zoom in, pulling myself along as I go, always making the handles in a controlled manner so that we're not creating any drastic shapes. And I'm not getting crazy. I'm also holding down the space bar to pull myself around. The left hand is on the keyboard. Now you can see I'm a little off here. So I'm going to do another shortcut we learned before. Hold down the A key to jump to your direct selection tool. I'm just going to manipulate that one point, drag it over there, and then P back to the pen tool, connect back up to where I started by clicking once, and I'm back on track. Holding down the space bar, pulling gently on the handles each time to create a nice, even, balanced shape. Once you've done this enough, you'll know how much space to leave between the points. However, as we said before, an underlying principle to the pen tool is to success with the pen tool is to use as few points as possible without letting that get in the way of your creativity. So I think that was a little bit too far to go. So I'm going to go back a little bit, Command Z, pull. And if you get bored, sometimes you can just go like this if you want. You can start doing individual points. There's no strict rules here, but I'm going to undo that and make it a little more curved. Okay. Gentle pulls on the handles, not getting too obsessive, pulling the handle more or less in the direction. If you're going in a straight line, you want to pull the handles in the direction of the path that you are on. If it's a curve, it's going to be a little bit more atop the curve that you're on. But the handles really should not inject themselves into the shape that you're making. And then back to the beginning. All right. Now, if that looks a little wonky at the end, so like that might be a hard edge, I'm going to zoom in, hit the A for direct selection, and I can see that there aren't two handles on that. So I'm going to go back to the pen tool. I'm going to hold down Option. It's not behaving right. Hold down Option. Let's see how I can do that. So those have two handles, but this one doesn't. So let's go to the, we're going to force the anchor point tool, which is what I'm trying to get to. Interesting. So the shortcut didn't work with that, but forcing it to the anchor point tool did correct it. So I'll go back to the pen tool. I'm going to hold down Command to toggle to the direct selection tool so I can deselect and then zoom out. Things are getting away from me. There we go. So now we have a lemon outline in a separate layer from the template. So we're still in the lemon layer. Now we're going to do a few things. One, that's a lot of points. Maybe I'd want to simplify it. So the first step might be to go to the object menu while my path is selected. Go to the object menu and choose simplify under path. There's no shortcut for that. And that gives us a control, which I could remove as many points as that, and I'm now down to 7 points, or I could go up to 34 points and add more things. I'm not sure why Simplify would do that for me. So let's go down. I'm going to undo that, go back to Simplify, see where I was. All right, so it starts with 20 points. Let's go down to 15. It's hard to get it precisely. I'll go with 14, it's fine. Actually, so maybe in this case I really don't need much simplification. I'm going to leave it at 20 and let it stay there. So then I'm going to go and zoom in on a few of my points and see if there's any of these little crests. You see how the handles are inserting themselves into my shape here? That is not the kind of shape I want to be creating. So I'm going to hold down P for a pen tool. I'm going to hold down Option for the anchor tool, and I'm going to drag across that point, and I'm going to screw everything up real bad. So in this case, what we might do is add a point here, just to keep everything on this side of that point fixed while we do this little operation. And then I'm going to add a point here. So now everything that happens in this little problem area will stay in the problem area. What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. So we uncheck that point. Suddenly that area is a little bit, I'm feeling better about it. I'm going to hit the A key. Perfect. Drag myself around. Let's just take a little inspection tour. I don't really see the need for one of these points. Someone has to go here, so we're going to take that one out. Just drag over this and then hold down the Command tool for the direct selection tool. Again, I don't like how that looks, so I'm going to Option drag on it with the pen tool, get a little shape going. Maybe add a point here, hit the A key to pull that out, back to the pen tool. Continue our inspection. Even that's a little I'd love those handles to be symmetrical, like facing each other exactly the same. So I'm going to go for it and just see what happens. This is fruit. The reason we're using fruit is because it's loose. I'm just going to go over some of these, make sure my handles are completely the way I want them to be. Yeah, like that's not cool, Jeff. So there's a better way to do whatever's happening here. There's a better way to do it. So I'm just gonna like add some points to take away some points, and then pull on those. Now it's a little bit better. Again, I don't love that that's sticking into my shape, but I'm gonna leave that one. Perfect. Feeling good. Feeling good. This one could be a little tighter. All right. Zoom out. All right, let's exit outline. You can see up here in the title bar, it says the word outline up here. That means we're not seeing strokes or fills. We're just seeing kind of an X-ray version of everything. But we do see the lemon because it's a template layer. So we're going to Command Y again to turn it back to visible fills and strokes. And we're going to take away the stroke. And we're going to go to Fill. We're going to use the eyedropper tool. We're going to find some kind of representative yellow. And voila, we have our color fill from the lemon itself. We can hide that layer for a second just to see. But I think we're feeling good about that. Now let's hide the template and we'll see just the lemon itself. We're going to zoom out. Beautiful. And we save. Command S. Let's move over to the avocado. We're going to click once on the avocado artboard to let it know we want to be there. We're going to click on the avocado layer. Actually, that's the more important thing. Let's be on the avocado layer, folks, and make sure our avocado template is locked. We're going to hit P for the pen tool, and we're going to start along one of the curves, and that's already going to be a problem because my fill is yellow and I don't want it to be. I'm just going to hit the / button to eliminate my fill. / right next to the shift key is how you eliminate fills and strokes. But what's more important is let's go into the outline mode. So Command Y for outline, and that turns all my strokes into this visible kind of X-ray version. Zoom in. I can already see that Illustrator wants to take me down a path I just don't want to go on. So I'm going to Command Z and undo that. Yeah, and I'm already not liking how this layer is green, so I'm going to make that black, because then that makes all my strokes, even in outline mode, I don't want to see that color green. I just want to see black because it's helping me here. Depends on what you're tracing. So you can kind of see what magnification. Right now I'm at 600%. Bottom left-hand corner shows your magnification. I don't want to make too many points, especially with an avocado. They're very particular about, no, we just want to keep it simple, but not that simple. So let's just make a nice kind of even flow. Pulling our handles only just a little bit, right? I might go for it, that last one. There we are. You know what, and this is a simple shape. I'm not even going to get crazy about this. I'm not going to even do the visual inspection. I'm just going to go Object, see what Simplify offers me here. I might not even use it. It's already pretty simple, 6 points. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it alone. So Command Y, jump out of that, take away my fill by hitting the / button next to the Shift key. So now I've got no stroke, no fill. It is showing me the outline because my layer is black. But I'm going to give this a fill of what? Eyedropper tool. This. Now it's just selecting itself. So I'll select over here. Good. That's a little bit more what I had in mind. Okay, perfect. So we have, let's save. Now we have an avocado and we have a lemon. How are we feeling? So zoom in on our orange, make sure we're in our orange layer, keeping our template layer locked. Zoom in, P for pen tool. I'm not going to worry about all the little bumps and things. This is just about the big picture here, right? We're kind of animating these. We're illustrating them in an animated kind of way, as if we were making them cartoons or something. I don't like that, so then remember our keyboard command for eliminating a fill. That would be / take away the fill, and also let's make this layer black so the path lines appear black to me, and also let's just go into outline mode. Perfect. Command Y. Those are ideal settings for tracing. Once you've got your subject locked on its own layer, using outline, that's a little too much. It looks like I went too much. So there. Using outline, coloring your layer with black, choosing no fill and no stroke, which is a little redundant because if you're in outline, it doesn't matter. But these are the steps that we take to kind of clean up this experience of tracing. All right, that wasn't too bad. Let's get out of outline mode, Command Y. Let's hit the eyedropper tool, or I, and select someplace in the orange. It takes a little sample from the template below, and then we're going to hide our template and use the item tool to deselect. and zoom out. Spacebar Command Option. Click. Perfect. Perfect. Let's say you want that orange to be like a little more orange. Go into your color. There we go. So we can differentiate it from the lemon very clearly. Let's go to banana layer above a locked banana template. We're very step by step here, following all the steps. It's not a small thing to notice what layer you are on in Illustrator. It's a big thing. It helps you stay organized, which leads to creativity. Once again, I've got that yellow line. I'm going to make the layer black. Make sure I've got no fill. And I'm going to turn on outline mode, which is Command Y. All right. Bananas are some of the most fun things to trace, in my opinion. It's almost like they were just made for the pen tool. Leave this alone and not simplify this as well. I'm just going to select it, choose the eyedropper tool, and try to get something yellow. I chose a weird color, so I'm going to yellow that up a little bit with my color palette. All right, and then hide my banana template, zoom out, save, Command S. We're going to go to the apple layer above a locked apple template. Choose P. In this case, the red is not bothering me. I'm going to eliminate the fill. I don't even have to use outline mode if I don't want to, demonstrating the fact that there's several ways to do this. I'd say the best way is in outline mode, but we make a lot of quick decisions as designers, and sometimes it's nice to do things differently and the way that we personally feel comfortable with at that moment, depending on what we're using and what fruit we're tracing. Why didn't I do the stem? I don't know. So let's zoom in. We can fix that. So we're going to add a point here. We're going to add a point here. Sometimes it doesn't let you add a point because you're basically hovering over a handle and not the path itself. So you might want to just make a point a little bit off where you wanted it to be. Choose A and then drag that point kind of where you really wanted it to be. Now, use the direct selection tool to deselect everything, and then click in the space between the 2 points. We're going to hit backspace or delete, because you had chosen it, you selected it, you didn't even know it, but you had chosen it because it's invisible. So this is getting uncomfortable. Let's make the path black and the stroke black and the fill none. So now I can see what I'm doing. And hold P down again for pen tool. We're going to connect to one of the spots and then just draw. I'm going to Command Y for outline. Nice. It's nice to be able to eliminate the stroke just for the tracing point of view, not necessarily eliminate the stroke for good. Great. Command Y goes back, and I'm going to zoom out. Eyedropper, I. Choose a good red, perfect. Not perfect, but I like HSB for my color values. All right. And maybe just like a little more saturated for the ideal apple. And we will deselect that and hide the template and zoom out. Alrighty, we've got 5 out of 6. Let's jump into the lime layer, which is above a locked lime template. Zoom in, pen tool, and I'm just going to do this one without narrating. that's our lime. I know it looks a little odd there. I think I'm just going to clean that up just to show how sometimes a little editing is advisable. Just a little weird. Maybe simplify will help here. Select it, object, path, simplify. Let's take it down to 13. I guess so. Okay, I'm gonna leave it. I don't love that little thing here, so I'm gonna add a point there, take that one out, kind of smooth that whole situation. P. Little nub. Great. Smooth that out. All right. So now we have our 6 pieces of fruit illustrated. I'm going to save that. We're now going to create a new document, one that we've made many times before. I have mine saved in my template folder, but it's going to be 1920 by 1080. So 1920 by 1080. We're going to take our fruit. Now we're just going to select all, Command A, Command C for copy. We're going to our new document and paste. We're going to hold down the Shift key and reduce the size a little bit, and then deselect. Now let's save this. Just name mine number 2. Great. And finally, I think it's going to be dramatic if we give this a background. So let's call this one layer one artwork or art. Make another layer, drag it to the bottom, call it background. And as you remember, the way we make a background in Illustrator is by making a shape that's exactly the same size as our document, giving it a color, a fill, and not a stroke, choosing the selection tool, and going up to our control bar, hitting transform, and choosing the top left reference point, 0 for X, 0 for Y. That's it. Then we lock that layer and we don't have to worry about it again. It's just our background layer. That's the color that it is. We can change it later. For right now, we're gonna leave it. Maybe black is a little extreme. Should we try a blue? So unlock it, select it. I'm not sure. All right, let's try that blue. For those of you that are following along, that's 0071 BC. Lock that. And now, let's start with the Shift key down, selecting things and making them different sizes. Dragging, holding down the Option key to duplicate. Holding down, selecting on one of them and changing the color settings. That's lovely. So holding down 3 together and moving them around, we can hit the Command G to group them. I can group my oranges so they stay together. And I have my fruit ready to make into some kind of artwork. Now what I'm going to do now is sort of move them around on the page and create more or less. I'm going to ungroup these. Command Shift G to ungroup. I'm going to put this here. I want to create another kind of mosaic, this time out of fruit. I'm going to look for these little handles here. Perfect. And maybe ungroup the limes. Let's keep this one thing at a time. We'll have time we'll scatter these limes around. I'm going to drag with my Option key held to duplicate. Drag this over here to duplicate. I'm going to object, let's see, actually use the reflection tool to reflect this around here like this. Perfect. These limes don't look limey enough, so select all of them and lime them up a little bit more. Now they look like too much like the avocado though, so the avocado I'll darken. Okay, and make some more lemons. Make another orange, holding down Option. Rotate this around. Maybe making that avocado a bit smaller, lemon a bit smaller, holding down Shift so I don't lose any proportions. I'd love to get 3 apples, so let's move this down here. 3 oranges. Let's get 3 bananas. Sometimes my rule of thumb with mosaics is same things should not touch each other. And if in this kind of space, it's almost like the rule of 3 kind of prevails. You know, as long as I see at least 3 of each thing, that's at least a start. It might not be the final solution, but that's the way. So I'm looking at it right now. I've got an orange, an orange, an orange, an apple, an apple, an apple, a banana, a banana, a banana, and my limes are scattered. There's more or less a scattering to this. And I think that looks great. So, oh, now I can see I'm not quite using my space as well as I thought I was. So I want to create kind of like a little balance here. See what you can do with your fruit. You could also make a fifth, or another fruit to copy. Did we get all our fruit? Hold on, we have an orange, a lemon, an avocado, a lime, a banana, and a apple. An apple, is that it? Did I count everything? Good. Okay, so now we have a beautiful mosaic. I think one thing that might be nice to give this a little bit of like a fresh produce feel is like a white border. I don't know why, I'm just seeing that. So I'm going to select everything on that layer by clicking on the little icon, the little circle in the layer. And I'm going to hold down Shift and Option to resize in proportion towards the center. Great. I'm going to lock that, make a new layer. I'm going to unlock my background layer, just copy that, then lock that layer again, go back to layer 3. I'm going to paste in place, give this a white, actually this is going to be the blue, very good. Okay, keep this blue, maybe move this in a little bit like this, try to make this as even as we can. Holding down the Option key to drag on these little resizing things so it happens to both sides at once. And then go to background and make the background shape white. So I made a new layer and I made that blue and we made the background white. Lock everything. And let's select all, Apple A, in our artwork layer, and just resize things just a little bit to really make use of our space here. Spread things out just a little bit. I might need that. Too many lemons. Too many limes, I mean. Let's see. That. Yeah, we don't have enough avocados. Why didn't you all tell me that? Certainly can use an avocado down here. And then I feel like we're still missing some piece of the puzzle. I don't want to do another lime there. No, let's just do one more lime. Twist it around like that. Can't hurt. Okay, so here is our fruit mosaic. We have made 3 layers. We have an artwork layer, we have a blue layer, we have our background, and that is it. We can take it one step forward. I'm going to offer a little bonus step here. Let's go into our art layer. I can't wait to see what you've all created. I'm going to select my orange. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste in front. Now I'm going to darken it a little bit. So let's go to my layer palette, go like this, under B for brightness, and I'm going to hit the P, choose delete anchor point, and start taking away points on one side of my orange until I get to about halfway. When at that point I'm going to leave. Take this one away. Actually, I need to add one right there. I want it to be kind of like a half moon situation. So delete that now. And I'm going to hold down Option and grab onto this handle. Nope, I need to be in my pen tool for that. Hold down Option while you're in the pen tool and grab onto this handle. And we're going to kind of shift this downward and give our orange a little depth. It's a little too much. So I would go to the opacity menu in the properties palette, or under transparency would do. Let's take it down to 50% and deselect, and then zoom out. Brilliant. So let's go to the lemon, do the same thing. Hit our lemon, Command C, paste in front. Let's make it a little darker. Maybe too much, but we'll see. Go to minus to start taking away. Yeah, we are. Thank you. Sometimes you have to tell the program who's boss. Like right now. I don't know what that warning was, but I'm going to ignore it and just keep on clicking. That wasn't right. So go back, Command Z. I'm going to add a point right there. And then take away this one. Yeah, whatever. Okay, good. Now, holding down Option in the pen tool, I'm going to grab on this little anchor point right here to get control over this line, and then curve it downward. And make it 50%. Okay, let's go to the avocado. Copy, paste in front, darken. I can already see I want to make my points ahead of time here, so I'm going to just hover over that. It gives me my plus thing. So then I'll just keep it. I'm going to keep it in the pen tool this time and see if I can just delete. Yep, this works. Holding down Option. Holding down Option. Holding down Option. Great. %. Okay, Apple. Command C, Command Shift V, darken, pen tool. Oof. Okay, we're gonna learn something new here. I'm gonna double click on this to get inside of the shape so I don't have to worry about selecting anything else. And I'm going to open up my, I'm not sure why it's not showing, but my lasso tool, which is Q. This is the little options that lets you open up new tools. Why my lasso tool is not showing, I don't know, but I'm gonna hit Q, and I'm just gonna draw a little selection around those because I don't want any of them, and I don't want to go through the trouble of deselecting and deleting all of them. But I can do it now. Perfect. That was great. Back to the pen tool. Minus. Perfect. That's actually about where I'd want it. Awesome. Holding down Option with the pen tool, back to the pen tool. Holding down Option. Okay, so that's not working now. Let's connect these. So using the pen tool, coming over to here. Now I'm going to hold down Option to kind of zap that one. Interesting. So in this case, I would make a point in the middle, use A now to pull it downward, go back to the pen tool, hold down Option, and make it curved. Hold down A. There we are. Now I'm going to hit Escape to exit the shape itself and make the entire shadow 50%. Excellent. What did we miss? The lime. Select it, Command C, Apple Shift V, P for pen tool, actually darken it up, P for pen tool, make a point, delete some points, hold down Option in the pen tool, grab on a handle, hold on Option. When you're grabbing on handles, hold down Option. Just quickly go to the anchor point tool. Excellent, and then 50%. And we can't forget about the banana. So let's Command C, Command V, Command Shift V, not Command V, Command Shift V. Make a point here. And leave that point right there. Now we're going to double click so we go inside the shape. We're going to hit Q. We're going to draw a marquee around the points that we don't need. We actually don't need this one either. Or this one. Or this one. Back to the pen tool. Hit on that one point. So let's connect these two. There we go. And hit in the middle. Drag that down. We made an extra point, dragging it down. Now holding the Option key with the pen tool selected, we're going to pull on that point to make it curved and darken it up a little bit more. Hit Escape to get out of the shape itself and zoom out. And we can see we made a nice shadow on our banana. Now ideally we would have done that beforehand instead of making this whole grid, and now we have to move things around, but that's easy enough. So we're gonna hold down Shift and group these things. So click on both items by holding down Shift and you group them together. Good. Now they're all grouped. Now I'm just gonna Option drag them around. Looks like this one needs to be on top. Delete the one that you didn't want. Option drag that here. Just click on the one that's above it. So again, Option dragging the bananas. Not a big deal. We can do this. Send this to the back. Arrange, send backwards, or send to back. Deselect, click on the one we didn't want. Drag this over here. Click on the one we didn't want, get rid of it. Okay, perfect. Take care of these limes. I'm gonna send that to the back. Click on the one we don't want. And just drag that down there. My avocado, same thing. Option drag that over there. The shadows are getting a little messed up because I'm twisting these, so adjustments may have to be made. Good. So I think it's best probably to keep the shadows consistent by doing something like that at this point. I don't know. Keep the banana the way it is. The other way to go is to kind of make these a little less visible. So we can go 25 on some of them or all of them. Yeah, the banana was actually at 100, so let's keep that to 50. That's still 100. Come on, Jeff. And then we did do the apples. Looks like I didn't group the apple and its shadow together, so let's do that. Okay, yeah, these are too strong, so let's do those at 25. 25. We are editing. The apples are also a little strong, so 50 on those. This one needs to be 25. Just taking a step back and looking at some of these. Making them all consistent. Shouldn't be too dark or distracting. The lemon's still kind of dark, so let's go 25. All right, I think that's good. Now we have a little bit of depth, and if you want to take it one step even further, we could do something like, let's see, we'll double click in here, drag this, option drag a version of it over to the left a little bit, and then make it sort of eyedropper the background, and then turn this into a multiply layer. Let's see how that worked. It did not work well. I'm going to double click on that shape, Command X to get it out of there, Command Shift V to paste it in place, send it backwards, and then turn the opacity to 25%. All right, now hit the F key to view your glorious creation without all the palettes and everything involved. You can see we've made a sharp looking little fruit mosaic, haven't we? Look at that. Now, and just to remind you, we started with this. And we wound up with this. Not bad. Not bad. 6 images from Unsplash, brought into Illustrator on their own artboards as templates, traced, copied, pasted into a new file, put on a separate layer called art, on top of a square that's a rectangle that's called blue, on top of a white background shape. And now we have a lovely fruit mosaic to export as needed. So I'll save to my images folder as a ping. Could say 72 DPI. And there you have it. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. This was our third project. It really brought together all of our skills. We learned about so many things, including artboards and templates and managing layers and the outline view and clipping masks. And most importantly, we are much better at the pen tool. We've used it over the course of 3 projects now. We're feeling comfortable, and we're just going to move into our wrap-up and our overview. And I thank you so much for joining me. This is the kind of project that will really help you step onto that next level of proficiency in Adobe Illustrator. So I encourage you to find things that you like to trace, find things that compel you, shapes that inspire you from your world. Bring them into Adobe Illustrator as we have, create artboards, place them as templates, trace them as such, bring them into your digital universe, give them your colors, and put your stamp on them as vector graphics. Just like we started out with our straight line mosaic, we made our curved mosaic, and then today jumping into our fruit mosaic. So I commend you. 3 mosaics, that's a triptych. I will see you in the next lesson.